In today's video, I'm going to walk you through a full body strength workout that is great for spinal fusions. If you have been operated on, you've been cleared to exercise, and you want to know how to build strength, well, I'm going to take you along one of my recent workouts that you can follow. Not only am I going to give you the exercises, how I do them, what you should be thinking about when you do them, but I'm also going to give you my recovery strategy. So what you should do at the end of your workout, when it's all over, I'm going to walk you through my own little private recovery routine that I think you're gonna love. Now, if you have a history of spinal fusions, I want you to grab my free guide. I put together a list of 10 of the most important things that you cannot mess up. These are big mistakes. A lot of people who have been cleared to exercise, who have been fused at some capacity, they go into the gym and they make these massive mistakes that make their pain worse or wind them up back on the operating table. Don't make these mistakes. You can grab that free guide at fitnessforbackpain.com/10 rules. Go get it. So I'm structuring this workout a little bit differently. Typically I do my warm-ups before I actually start the workout. Today it's a little bit different. I wanna kind of do some body prepping, whatever you wanna call it, before each set of muscles that I'm working. Here you see me getting prepped for my pulling exercise. So I'm gonna start my workout off with a pull, and I'm gonna do some banded resisted pulls to get started. So I've already warmed up, I've walked, I've done some core work. This is just kind of some prep work before the actual lift happens. So the first exercise I jump into is the bench supported kettlebell row. Love this exercise, love doing supported work, especially if you have a sensitive low back, if you've had some kind of fusion. This really kind of protects any kind of sensitive area. Some key things you have to remember when doing this type of exercise is you do not want to default to overextension in the low back just to gain that inch. When you're in this position, I want you to contract your glutes, build that stable foundation, as if you were not being supported by a bench. I also want you to focus on bracing the abs. So yes, you're gonna do a quick breath out. You're gonna make sure your abs are on so that you can help not trigger and turn on or over contract that low back. Watch your transitions. Don't go up and down too quick. You're not going for momentum. Err on lighter weight, perfecting the reps. So you can always focus on quality over quantity, using momentum and doing things that just are not necessary in the gym. I'm just about to jump into my first lower body exercise. Before I do that, in this case here, since I was kind of in a hurry to get this workout done, I'm gonna do some simple foam rolling. You can do this for as long as you want. You can do in different areas. I think I'm gonna focus just on the areas that I always tend to see some tightness or cramping happen when I'm doing lower body training, and one of those is the inner thigh. I'll then move to the quads, and if I wanna move around any other place in that, I'll do it. No silver bullet behind foam rolling. It's not a magic strategy. It's just something that I'm using today in this workout to continue to get my body prepped before actually starting the workout, since I'm only really picking one exercise per muscle group to do. I'm a big fan of very slow warm-up reps when you get into the actual exercise that you want to do, especially when it comes to squats. There's so many technical issues that kind of can happen, especially if you have a sensitive low back. If you have been fused for some reason, your body's responding out of protection. So what you want to do is make sure when you're doing these exercises that you are understanding what muscle groups should be firing. You should feel balanced. You should feel your hips engaged. You should feel your quads engaged. You should feel everything below the waistline engaging, all while you're keeping a good brace. You're not overextending. You're not kind of losing that structure in the low back, causing you to kind of do this chest out, butt out position. One other trick when it comes to any kind of front loaded squatting exercise is keep that weight as close as possible to you. Oftentimes you'll see people kind of hold the weight out a little bit further from their chest. I don't agree with doing that. I think bringing that weight as close as you can to you and your chest will keep that weight balanced and centered so that you can focus less on collapsing or your core not being strong enough or your low back taking too much of the load, and instead you're bringing that weight a little bit closer to you so that you can focus and control and just feel overall balanced. But I always encourage people to do whatever feels good to you. I've actually had that weight hanging from my back before, where I'm holding the kettlebell like this and I'm got the handles in my hands and I'm holding it that way. That feels actually really good. It's just really hard to do that when you start going heavier, 90 pounds, 100 pounds, it gets a little bit difficult. Quick tip on hamstring training. If you have any kind of sensitivity in your low back, you've been fused, or if you have a history of the gym and your hamstrings are always kind of tight, do more hamstrings than you do overall leg exercises. If you're lunging, squatting, goblet squatting, whatever you're doing, do 2 hamstring exercises per 1 quad. A lot of times the hamstrings are undertrained. What you see me doing here is just a skateboard hamstring curl. Love having the skateboard or anything on wheels because it takes away the friction. You might think, oh, well, it's not gonna be that hard because you're taking away the resistance. Try this, do this exercise, go nice and slow, focus on contracting the hamstrings and really engaging these muscles, and you're gonna see that even with the wheels, even with less friction or less resistance, that you really get a good targeted pump and activation of the hamstring. So do these. You have these at the house. If you've got kids, I am sure you have a skateboard somewhere. If not, you can use furniture movers or socks on hardwood floors. Lots of options. Just train your hamstrings. Jumping into the push portion of this workout, I'm gonna be doing some just standard slight incline bench press, but before I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do just some explosive medicine ball throws. I would suggest you do, if you're gonna do this type of warm up, is get some kind of big stability ball, something that's a little bit of resistance but not too heavy, and you're focusing on exploding and trying to get these muscles activated before you actually do the key or the major lift for that day. With this exercise, I might do 1 or 2 sets of maybe 8 presses, and I'll leave it at that. It's not supposed to be strenuous. I'm doing here a slight incline bench press. I like doing a slight incline. If you see at the base of my head where the bench meets the floor, you'll see 2 rubber 10-pound plates stacked up. It just gives me a little leverage so I can take the emphasis off of my shoulders. Oftentimes with people who are doing flat bench pressing, it's uncomfortable for them if you've had a fusion. So kind of bringing yourself up a little bit emphasizes more of the chest. One thing you'll notice is where my feet are at. I will change my feet around. I don't always just have my both feet flat on the ground. If I was competitive bench pressing, then that's something that I have to consider. I can't obviously have my feet up on the bench, but I like to go for comfort. I like to go with my pelvis in a good position, whatever feels really good from pressing and not having too much extension in that low back, because that's kind of can cause some irritation for me. So I focus on what is a good position for me, and one of those is having 1 foot up on the bench and 1 foot down, and I'll swap both sides, but do whatever feels comfortable for you. Make sure you are safe. So this is a big bonus part of this video. I wanted to kind of bring you into the recovery aspect of what I typically choose to do after any kind of workout, right? When you work out, you get into the sympathetic nervous system. You're kind of like in this high strung, high stress, good stress, but you're up here. We want to take the time to bring ourselves back down to here. If you were to go straight from a hard workout to your desk, well, your body is still trying to come down off of this higher level of activation. So what I suggest people do is take time to decompress, take time to just get yourself out of this mindset of work, 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 and then get yourself into this parasympathetic nervous system response where it's just relaxation, getting you back to a neutral place. My best strategy for that is just being flat on my stomach, face down, and doing some deep breathing exercises. With this exercise, I might bring my head up a little bit to get some slight extension, but my focus is really trying to breathe into that lower back, and any kind of tension that might be building up or any kind of fear-based issues I might be having due to what I did that day, I really want to emphasize that breath and keeping myself calm and not to overprotect or overguard. This is a key thing. If you've been fused in any kind of spinal surgery, this is what's going on in your head. So if you take the time to bring this down, you're gonna be good. Depending on how hard my workout was, I will take my hips and legs through some kind of range of motion drill. I don't look at it as like stretching. It's just kind of like seeing what my active range of motion is. Have I lost it? Am I getting tight? Sometimes I'll do this 24 hours after the workout to see what has changed. When my legs get tight, when my glutes get tight, I do feel it in my lower back. So this is my area of focus after a workout, especially on leg day, is can I bring myself through some ranges of motion that will promote some healing, promote some blood flow, and just allow me to feel a little bit better and not so restricted. You can pick and choose what you want to do. I'm simply doing some rotations, I'm doing some leg raises, I'm bringing my knees to my chest, not stretching, just kind of bring it up and bring it back down. I want to encourage you just to pick and choose what you think would be good for you. Obviously, if you're rotating or twisting, that might not be the best situation for you, but take some time to really kind of take your body through some gentle movements. Don't look at it as stretching. It's an opportunity for you to kind of just bring some movement to the area after you've worked it. The muscles are gonna be tight, they are gonna be tense, and the more you can kind of like tease them out of this tension as best you can, the better you're gonna feel. That is it. I hope you enjoyed this full body strength workout. And before you go, be sure you grab that free guide at fitnessforbackpain.com/10 rules. It's yours. Don't make those mistakes. Get the guide and take action.